Welcome back to The Pursuit of Home. I'm Scott Harris, and today we're going to talk about pets. Now, some people absolutely love their dogs and their cats and their guinea pigs. Some people are allergic to them. In fact, when I have clients that are allergic, I have to really find out, okay, is there a cat in this space? Is there a dog? Buyers have a really hard time when there are pets that don't work with their systems. And some people just don't like dogs or cats for any number of reasons. Sometimes when you're a listing agent and you have a pet in the property, you have to warn the buyer. So if you're looking at properties, you might hear, this owner has a very aggressive dog, please be careful. Or if you're allergic to cats, this owner has multiple cats. Pets can cause a little bit of smell, as you may have noticed in different apartments. But today, we have a couple of stories from an amazing, very seasoned agent in Long Island, which is right next to Manhattan where I work. And these stories are so great. It's not that the story is just about the pets, but what sellers are asking buyers to do. They wanted these owners, these new buyers, to take possession, not just of the house, but of the pets as well. What would you do in that instance? It's a scenario that I've never heard before. So without further ado, here's my story and my conversation with John Messina, and we'll see you on the other side.
But this is my house, Mommy. The one I asked Mr. Springer for. It is, I know it is.
Welcome to The Pursuit of Home, coming to you from New York City. This is real people buying real estate and their unique journey to get there. We share the tips, tricks, and frameworks to help you navigate the bumps in the road that you won't see on reality TV or social media, and which no one has talked about until now. Welcome back to this episode of The Pursuit of Home. I'm Scott Harris, and I'm really excited to have with me today a 39-year veteran of the real estate industry in nearby Long Island, John Messina. John, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You're going to have to correct me if I mess any of this up, but you've been covering what they call the Gold Coast of Long Island for almost 4 decades. You've got a lot of experience. So, what I wanted to talk about, you had some great stories, and, buyers have a tough enough time finding a home in this environment, but sometimes sellers really make buyers jump through some really crazy hoops. And I was hoping you might share this one story or maybe a couple stories about some of the crazier things you've seen.
So the names are changed to protect the innocent, as like the TV show said. No, I'm just kidding. We have several, obviously, right? It's just to show you a million, right? So we have one seller who selling the house, and I'm listing the house, and she had told me, hey, I have these koi fish in the back, and, they're really like pets for us. So please, if you could try to make sure that whoever's buying the house, that they're going to take care of the koi. I said, okay, I'll try it. And that was my promise. I will try. I sell the house about a month later. We're in contract. I get a call from the seller, and she said, John, did you explain everything about the koi? And I just said, oh, God. Did you
forget?
I said, no. I said, I totally forgot. I'm sorry. That's not like me. I said, but yeah, they're beautiful fish. And yeah, I'll talk to them. Of course, I called the broker. After she stopped laughing for about 5 minutes, she said, I'll call you back. And she said, no, I have no interest in taking the koi. So
not a fish lover, not a fish lover.
No, and they were in a small pond, probably maybe 5 feet long by 3 feet wide, and they were monsters. They were like the size of my legs in the water, and they didn't really have much to move around, but they were just gigantic. And I go, it would be great to not disappoint my client and just get them moved. So I called up another client of mine who was thinking about putting their house on the market a few years ago, and they decided to stay. Anyway, they had a 5-acre parcel. They had a koi pond on there that was this idyllic setting off of they had a stream coming down into the pond as a circulation. This pond was probably 1/4 of an acre. It had hundreds of these koi fish in them, and that's so. I called him up and I said, "Hey, Alex, I have people coming." I didn't even give him an option. Hey, I have people coming over with some fish. If you don't mind, we're just going to throw them in the water. Okay, sure. Now
that was it.
That was it. My clients know when I ask, I very seldom ask anybody for anything, right? But whatever it is, it's never a problem, right? Because it's innocent stuff. And I call up the seller that has the fish, and I say, okay, so the good news, bad news. Good news is I have a place for the fish. Bad news is the people that are buying the house don't want it. She goes, oh my God, we're gonna have to move these. I said, yes, you're. Which she said, I heard that.
We're going to have to do this. Wait a minute. Hold on.
I said, no, you're going to have to, you're going to get your nephew, or you're going to get a family member, or maybe you're going to get a garbage can or whatever the hell you're going to use for fish transport. I mean, I couldn't even imagine.
I remember trying to bring a goldfish in my car. It was, the whole thing was like the size of a basketball.
Yeah, you go to the fun fair. It's a $3 guppy or whatever, right. Goldfish, and it's a gigantic volume of water. So I was thinking maybe like one of those gigantic recycling containers you get at the store or whatever. Anyway, they got 2 big garbage cans, plastic. They filled it up with water and they made the trip one at a time. God knows how much they weighed. Because think about it, it's not just the fish, but the volume of water that it's sitting in. And the the place where they were going, he calls me, he goes, hey, those are beautiful fish. I saw that they dropped them in the water. It was really nice. Johnny, these are beautiful. I said, all right. And that was it. And the sellers were happy because they got 2 new fish. The future sellers,
good
current
job.
sellers were like, hey, thank you. We were happy that they have a better place to live. Really, it was like, you're going from, you go into like a 5-star hotel at that point.
Right. They were going to the Mandarin Oriental. I mean, they were like, these are the happiest koi fish of all time.
Exactly. And a few years later, I did wind up putting that house on the market. And I swear to you, I saw the fish there swimming around. They were just bigger. And
they were already a little bigger than the rest of these fish.
And I like to think that one of them just kind of waved his little flipper at me. I don't know.
Now, fish is one thing.
Yeah.
Because, I can understand, all right, fish don't really give you very much perhaps. But you told me something else, this other story, which I really would beg you to tell about, in the instance that somebody had a dog.
Yeah.
Now, did you represent the buyer?
I have a lot of animal stories.
But this is the one that really knocked it out of the park for me.
Yeah.
So please tell this story about the sellers with the large dog.
Yeah. So I'm representing buyer clients. We're looking around forever. I mean, felt like years. It probably was years. And we looked at every house in the market. There was just one house I never got to. So, we went to the house and listing agent couldn't make it, which was quite customary out here. If the listing agent can't make it, they'll leave the lights on, they'll have the front door open, and we'll just go and we'll parade through the house and look at everything. And that's exactly what happened. The doors were unlocked, lights were on, nobody's home. We walk through the house. At some point, I look outside and I see a guy swimming around in the pool. Okay, it must be the seller. We finish inside the house. We walk outside. The guy comes out of the pool. Nice guy. Goes, hey, you're John? Yes. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Oh, is this your client? Yes. Oh, how'd you like the house? Oh, yeah, this is a possibility. And for the first time in I don't know how long, my buyers are saying, oh my God, I think this is the house, right? This is after all this time. Of course, it had to be this house. So he's like, oh, that's great. This seller says, oh, that's great. Gee, John, did you tell him about the dog? I go, what? Excuse me? What do you mean the dog? He goes, the dog. I said, no, I'm sorry. This is the first time I'm at the house. I don't know anything about a dog. He goes, oh, John, you have to tell them when if they're interested in buying the house, they have to take the dog. And as he said the word the dog, this 80-pound chocolate lab come bounding out of the forest like it was a movie with mud caked on him and leaves and everything. It's like a mess. And he comes, slobbering over to us and jumps up on us and everything. And he goes, this dog. And I burst out laughing because I thought it was a joke. My client burst out laughing, thought it was a joke. The only one who wasn't laughing was the seller. And I look at my client and go, oh, he's serious. And then he goes into this whole thing. He goes, listen, we're moving into a condo in the city. There's no room for this dog. You see how big he is? You know, you got to take him. I said, no, I look at him. I said, do you want the dog? He goes, no, of course I don't want the dog. So this is all happening so fast. And then I go, I'm sorry. He doesn't want the dog. He goes, but I had to take the dog when I bought the house.
Wait a minute. He bought the house with the dog also.
With the dog. Like chattel, you know, like with the old real estate term, right? You know, you bought whatever's with the land. The dog came with the land.
Oh my God. So the deal did not, I take it that you didn't find a home for this dog like you did for the fish.
And to this day, I never sold them a house. How's that?
Ba-dum-bum. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on. I'm going to unpack this for our listeners. I have a lot to think about, and thanks for being here. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Really nice meeting you. Take care.
You know, I was blown away by these two stories. I mean, of course, the fish, I think it's one of those times when you realize the value of an agent goes way beyond selling the house. It's about resourcefulness, and every single market is local, and real estate agents, if they happen to know another client of theirs who has a massive koi pond to bring these fish, that was like a win-win, and I was really happy to hear that. But, you know, the dog story made me pretty upset because I was thinking, this guy, somehow it was easygoing. He took this dog when it was time to buy a house. He had no problem inheriting a dog when he bought the house, but then was so quick after 10 years to let this dog go. That part of I didn't know what to do with that. But if you're a buyer, it is hard enough to find a house that you love, much less accept a pet that comes with the house. What would you do? I don't know that I could accept a dog because my wife is allergic to dogs. And it would really be a challenge, especially for a 90-pound dog, to decide that all of a sudden I was going to have to take care of that dog. So it's a lot of food for thought. But I think the bigger picture is that sellers sometimes ask buyers to do crazy things that go beyond the price and go beyond, say, the closing date. And just to be prepared for people to be people. And without further ado, this podcast is produced in part by the More Network. If you like what you hear, make sure and subscribe. And we'll see you next time for our next episode.